right.
Sorry,
No
started
problem.
over.
And if your money's in the market right now, specifically, let's say the stock market, you're doing uh, backflips at 6 to 8% annually. Um, these leases, we won't even look at them unless they're in double-digit returns. Then what we do is we have a staff of geologists, geophysicists, and engineers and landmen who we rely on to actually uh, coach us through this and give us their professional opinion. So that's what we do. This Cartwright Q lease currently has about 8 barrel a day production. And just so you know, Drew and Greg they visited Texas a few weeks ago, and they actually visited this exact lease. So they saw oil pumping out of the ground. They saw the lease, they saw everything. So they can 100% tell you guys that this is a real investment opportunity. Now, where the wild card comes in is what can we do to increase production? Well, this particular lease, there's 2 disposal wells, which their only job is to take disposed produced water and we re-inject it back down into the earth. We will start a water flood, which, as Andy knows, the water flood that we're doing on the Comanche Shores lease that Andy and I got involved with, it was September, October of last year. Water flood is the way we're actually making our monthly returns currently, which, just give you a little bit of geology 101, water flood is when you're injecting the water back down into the same formation that is oil's being produced. So the whole idea, let's say you have a 2% cut of oil, you can actually, the more water you move across the formation, the more oil cut or more oil residue you'll pick up. So currently on the Comanche Shores, we're moving about 800 barrels to 1,000 barrels of water a day. And coincidentally, we do have about a 2% oil cut. So we are gathering 16 to 20 barrels a day of current oil production. And last month alone, after paying, all expenses, that lease netted us about 2.49% for the month. And then, of course, you extrapolate that over a course of 12 months, you've got good returns. The thing that really gets me excited about the Cartwright Q lease, and Drew and Greg saw this, is it's all pasture and fields. There's no rocky terrain or anything like that to where it'd be hard to get a drill rig in. Matter of fact, I believe we went through 2 gates, Drew, and then we were there.
Absolutely.
So very easy to get to. Another thing we like about this lease is the productive zone is only at about 1,800 feet deep. So we'll get to drill 2 new wells on this lease versus 1 on the Comanche Shores that Andy and I and my wife are involved with. So we have 8 wells out of the 12 that we will rework. And we're also going to do a technology called sand notching, which in geology terms, it's considered a hydrofrac, to where if you have like a 50-foot thick pay structure, you can, instead of only perforating 4 to 6 feet of that pay, you can use the sand notching to go up and down the whole formation and get all 50 foot opened up. So, and we have testimonials in our literature showing that a gentleman, he sand notched 5 different wells of his, and production on one well went from 50 barrels a day to 100. So he gained 50 barrels a day by doing this technology. He had another well that was doing 30 barrels a day. It went up to 80, so he gained another 50. He had another well that was doing 30, and it went up to 45 barrels a day, so that he gained 15. And then he had 2 other wells that he didn't see a change in production. They were both like at 30 barrels a day, and it did not increase those 2. But the good news is out of 3 of the 5 wells, he gained a net 115 barrels a day off of this technology. We've already got that factored into the cost. So someone might ask, well, how do you come up with a cost, on a project? We take the cost of the lease, we take the rework cost, what it's going to cost to rework all the wells and the new wells that we're going to drill, and we factor that amount in, and that's what we raise. So there's no initial investment and then 2 months later us calling you back and going, oh, by the way, we went over budget, you have to send more money. So that's always a negative. So that's what we do. It's very simple and easy to get wells that are producing at one number to climb those numbers, just because, and I explained this to Drew and Greg and even Andy back in the day, is there's strength in numbers. And what I mean by that is I would much rather bring in, say, a group of 25 people, and out of those 25 people, we all put in, say, 40,000 to get to our $1 million mark, versus one person or 2 persons putting in $500,000 to $1 million. And what we're doing at that point is we're spreading the risk. And that's truly what you have to do in any investment, because in every investment out there, there is risk involved. So we just prefer to build ownership bases wide and with people that can afford to take money out of their portfolio and reinvest it in areas to where they can actually see returns. And not to mention, these investments are 100% tax deductible against your ordinary income or capital gains. So what better way of making passive income, in our opinion, than putting your money into something that's going to give us tax breaks, and it's going to give us monthly passive income as well. So you're getting the best of both worlds. You truly are. And like I said, we've been doing this now for a while, and it works. It works. It works very well. So did I kind of cover everything, Drew?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good overview.
Okay.
Greg, are you there? I know you're driving. I just wanted to.
Oh yes,
for those who didn't see Greg last time, this in JG Atlantic Capital. He's the G, I'm the J. So Greg is my business partner. We both had an opportunity, thanks to Andy and Tim, to travel down to see the Cartwright lease in Texas. And for those who haven't seen my Instagram post, we took some videos. I have a lot of videos actually that shows how they're going to do the reworks on some of the wells, and just the ins and outs of the geology and how stuff works. Did you have any comments that you wanted to make, Greg?
I'm excited. When Drew and I went to Dallas a week or two ago, I think touch upon what Tim was saying. I mean, we stood a lot. It was exciting. I don't know a terribly lot about out of oil and gas, but we got to see the inner workings, see the drill, touch oil, see oil being extracted from the ground, involve some water. So, I mean,
Absolutely.
it's all it makes dollars, it makes sense, and they're making money. So, why not us?
Yeah, it's funny. A mentor of mine from years ago said to me that because when I was getting started in a previous business, I said, I want to know how this works and how that works, and it's good to know. You want to cross your I's and dot your T's and do legal compliance and everything, but you don't really have to know 150% of everything about how stuff works in order to actually make money. It's similar to you using electricity in your house. I mean, not everyone on the line is an electrical engineer. A few of you are, I know. But I mean, you still turn your light switches on every day. So you use electricity. Yeah. You don't have to know the ins and outs of electricity to figure out how it works and use it. But yeah, moving on to Andy. Did you have any comments for Andy? Andy is, again, a good friend of Tim. He got involved on another lease with him a few months ago. He can share his experience in a few minutes, and then we'll just open it up for questions from anyone. And we can go from there.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is, you don't gotta be an expert in oil. You just gotta know the basic logistics of how oil works. You know what I'm saying? I mean, all they're doing is just like a house. You buy a house, you do some renovations on it, you fix it up so the house can be more valuable and have better, better quality. So the same thing applies to oil wells. We're getting wells that are already pumping, reworking them, and making production go up. Y'all hear me? You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
All right. And then, like I said, as an investor, just think about this. Other than the return on investment, it's very simple. Like when I got involved, it's very simple math. Is it passive income? Yes. Is there oil that's being produced right now in real time? Yes. You can go there, get the oil, take some home with you. You know what I'm saying? Do you need referrals? Yes, we have plenty of people that are already invested, already making money that we can put on the phone. You can talk to them. I probably brought about 10 to 11 people into this oil game, and they're all making money right now. There's the Railroad Commission that regulates everything, so you can always make sure production is where it needs to be. You got your tax breaks. And you're getting mailbox money, like the greatest thing on earth. You can continue to do what you're doing and you're collecting a check every month. And as soon as you invest the following month, you're getting paid. So as an investor, keep it simple. I mean, I'm making money because I don't overcomplicate it. So just take those 5 things I said. Is it passive income? Yes. Is there oil there? Yes. Am I getting tax breaks? Yes. Are there other investors already doing it? Yes. Do you start getting paid immediately? Yes. So like Tim said, I mean, it's very simple. That's why I love the investment, because people are already making money. Tim's been doing this for a long time. I've done real estate, so I understand how it reworks and fixing things work. I like passive income. I like the return on investment and the potential of making more money every month is there. On top of that, oil prices are going to go up anyway. So, like I said, it's very simple. You need a lot of information. Just get the basic logistics down, and that's it. It's simple math like any other investment. The good thing about this is investors like when they start making money immediately. And that's the beauty of it. And you ain't got to stop your daily job to do it. You can continue to do what you're doing. You're just making extra money on the side. You're mixing up your portfolio. And it's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? You're diversifying yourself. You're not just doing 1 or 2 types of asset classes. Now you're adding another commodity into it, which is oil. So think as an investor. It's not that complicated. It's very simple. Well, take it from me. I'm already doing it. I'm living proof. Like I'm already the proof you need to see. I mean, just look at my lifestyle. So yeah, I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Andy. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Like to add to that, just so you know, the end game for us when we buy a lease, our end game is very conservative. I would rather under promise and over deliver. I'm in me and my wife's portfolio, we're banking on anywhere from 80 to 120%. That's what we're banking on. When everything is done, the new wells are drilled, the reworks are done. And sometimes, guys, that might take a few months, but in the intermediary, like Andy said, you're getting these monthly checks from existing production. So, you know, that's a really, really good thing. I'm seeing El Jefe, he mentioned, could the returns vary up or down if the increase, decrease production? Yes, it can. And I'll tab on that for a moment. When Andy and I started on the Comanche Shores in October of last year, our very first oil check that we received, we got $32 a barrel. Okay. Fast forwarding to last month, we got $69 a barrel. Well, guess what? The production has stayed the same, but our revenues have went up exponentially because of the fact we get paid market value for our oil. So that's a good thing. And we are paid on the WTI cost. Just so you know, that's the West Texas Intermediate crude price. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you can keep track of what prices are, but if you want to get a real accurate assumption of what we're getting paid, you kind of need to look at the WTI price. And plus you'll get a statement every month showing how many barrels were sold that month, what our cost was, what we got paid, and everything. So it's a real thorough thing.
Yeah, we had another question that says, based on crude or refinement, it's the crude that comes.
Yes.
Right out of there.
And because the gravity of oil that we sell is, it's not the elite and it's not the dirtiest, we get, just so you know, if WTI price is 75, we get about 72. There's about a $3 difference. Our oil is not a 48 gravity oil. Ours is more along the lines of a 40 to 42 gravity. So that will need a little bit more refining to it than a 48 or a 50 gravity oil. But that's okay. We're making money, and we can't set the standard on what gravity oil is coming out of the ground. You know, different areas have different gravities.
Absolutely.
Oil. The next question Mark had was, is the passive income derived monthly, quarterly, or semi-annually? It is monthly, Mark. We do get paid every single month. So I hope that helps.
I can get the next question from El.
Okay, sure.
After his question, for those who are not seeing it, after the initial investment, could someone increase their investment on the same lease, or do they have to wait till the next lease is presented? That's actually a great question. So the way that it's going to happen is that JG Atlantic Capital is going to buy a portion of the lease from Tim, and then we're going to present it to all of our former investors and friends of JG Atlantic Capital through Onyx Equities Group. And that's why we want to get some initial estimate numbers as to what you guys are interested in, so that we can buy based off of that. It is like any other asset that you could buy or sell in the future. So if you wanted more, the opportunity to buy from maybe some of the other investors, if they wanted to release some of their stake, is there. And there is going to be opportunities with future wells, future oil leases as well, moving forward, that we're already in talks to do those.
Absolutely.
So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. You are going to have some opportunity and some wiggle room, but we kind of want to get just some estimates from people as to what they're interested in, what kind of numbers they're thinking, so that we can buy appropriately to accommodate everybody. Next question was from Mark again. How's the 10% fee calculated to Tim from the initial investment?
Would you like me to answer that, Drew?
Yeah, you can answer
Okay.
that. I mean,
Okay, actually, the 10% is we calculate how much money is going to be needed to facilitate everything that we're going to do. We add 10% onto that. And that's basically for us purchasing the lease up front. So no matter if it takes us a week to facilitate 100% of it or 6 months to facilitate 100% of it, that holding time it's secure that it's already purchased and there's no way we could lose that lease. And then what my wife and I do out of that is then we get our our ownership out of that 10%, plus if we have any left over, you know, that's like our business profit or whatnot. So that's basically being, you know, transparent with you guys and understanding that a 10% fee for us holding and upfronting all the money is not a bad deal whatsoever. We don't feel.
right. Next question was on tax benefits. Where could you explain those a little bit more? Oh, and Mark, there is no minimum investment. I mean, you just kind of want to do what makes sense for you. I mean, obviously, if you do, you know, $100, it might not be worth your while. But yeah, there's no minimum investment per se to do this.
Right. The tax benefits from basically what I've done for the last 20 plus years is anytime I make an investment, I get an official letter from the company I invest with on their company letterhead. I list the name of the project, the amount of the investment, and the date I made it. And then I give it to my accountant, and then the company that I invest with, they give me the IDC, which is intangible drilling expense. And then my that number is plugged in by our accountants and it's put on, I believe, Schedule E of your tax return, which is your, I believe it's your 1099 income and things like that. And I've never once had an issue filing it that way. We do 1099s versus a K1. I don't know if that is important to anybody, but we do 1099s when it comes to the taxes. And I'm not an accountant, so this information that I'm giving you is what I've done and given to my accountant over the many, many years of investing in projects.
Gotcha. I think that answers that. Mark, you had another question about the Tim's fee. That's already taken care of prior to us even getting involved. So how is the Tim's fee calculated to Tim from the initial investment? So it's not like if you invest 100,000 that only 90,000 of that matters. Like that's not the case. When you invest with JG, whatever you have, that is going to go 10% right off the bat. Is there a minimum investment now? Is there a tax benefit? You did that. Funds held in escrow. So the way that legally we're going to set it up is upon investors buying a share from the group, they'll be issued shares proportional to the amount that they invest with that entity that we make for that lease. So we're probably going to do new subsidiary entities on a per lease basis to just kind of keep things separated for everybody. According to my attorney, he said that's the best way to do it. And Mark, I know you had a question about private placement and last call. And the way that to avoid our SEC regulations and all that is for us to buy that up front and then turn around and resell the shares to investors, and that's the path that we choose to take moving forward. So we don't have to worry about any of that. So additional fee when you buy leases from Tim, what is the total investment less fee? Additional fee. I don't quite understand your question, Mark. Could you?
I pretty much think that you already answered it. So if you invest $100,000, you're saying that the whole $100,000 is invested into the oil lease. There's no fees that come out of that, if I'm understanding.
No. So it's going to entitle you to own a portion of whatever investment that we whatever investment chunk of the lease that we do. Depending, and that's why I want to get estimates from people. So yeah, that's kind of how that's going to go.
And just so I see this one question, Drew.
Okay.
Funds are not held in a typical escrow account, because then again, you run into private placement, joint venture, things like that. It's held in our business operating account, which there's two parts of that. There's the business main, and then there's a subsidiary of our main business. And we have that money separated, so when the work is done, the money is released, okay? But at the end of the day, you know, it's all accounted for, you know, through, you know, Gold Star Financial Group, okay? So I hope that answers that.
Yep. El Jefe had another one, individual buy under a business entity. Absolutely. If you want to form a business to buy your shares, you can definitely do that.
Right. The reports are mailed out hard copy, Mark, to all investors along with their revenue disbursement. Now, Andy and I are working on a way to actually send out payments through QuickBooks. And once we get that, down, still a hard copy of your joint interest billing will be sent to you for your records. You'll always get a hard copy showing all the breakdowns, taxes and pumper gauger, electricity bill, and it's all proportionate to your ownership. So and once again, you know, thinking of it now, that statement, you know, we'll forward that to, you know, Drew's company, and he'll have it all done on his spreadsheet, and, you know, send it all as well to you guys as well. So that's not an issue at all.
Absolutely, and we already have an ACH solution in place that we can get checks out to people quick. Maybe the first month it won't go like that, but after that, I think we will have that all set up so that people who elect to get direct deposits you guys can do that if you want.
Right. Mark, time frame when funds are due. That's honestly, I mean, that's a discussion to have with Drew. You know,
yeah, we're trying to wrap things up in the next week and a half to 2 weeks to get a wire over to Tim, and we'll have the paperwork and everything drawn up by then, so that we can move forward. So that's kind of the time frame we're looking at here. Carlisle had a question about, are we basically purchasing an undivided interest in the well?
Carlisle, if you could elaborate a little bit. I don't know if I'm understanding your question.
Okay, so I've purchased I've done investments where I purchased like undeveloped real estate. And essentially, like, it's a company that has maybe 50 people going in on a purchase of a plot of land. So it's similar to what Drew's doing, where like they've already kind of purchased it, and then they offer like a share in it. And so it's not like you're purchasing like a certain square meter of that plot of land. It's more so that like you're purchasing like a kind of virtual interest in it. It's undivided. Undivided just means that like you're not purchasing an exact area of land. It's more so that you're purchasing just a interest sharing.
Right. Okay, I understand. Great question. This particular lease is 650 acres. What you get on your assignment would be 8, 10. You get 12 well bores on your assignment. So you would own, your investment would be in those 12 well bores altogether. Okay. but it just so happens those 12 well bores sit on 650 acres. So it's investment specific on well bores, and that's all outlined and everything. And, you know, Drew and Greg can go over that with you as well, but it is very specific. That way there's no accident of, you know, someone throwing wells onto your ownership that are like plugging liabilities, because you don't want plugging liabilities. Plugging liabilities cost money. That means they're inactive wells, and the Railroad Commission says they've been inactive for X amount of time. You have to plug them. That costs money. We're not interested in acquiring liabilities. We're interested in acquiring assets.
Absolutely. Will this investment have a lockup or holding period?
I'm not quite sure what that means.
Yeah.
Drew, I apologize.
Collins?
Lockup period. So in normal investment, especially if you're doing investments into an actual type of private equity, once that investment goes public, depending on the rules of like the IPO, there could be a lockup period before.
Before you can sell. Before
Yeah.
you can sell. Oh, gotcha. No,
Yeah.
I mean, you once you kind of invest here, I made the analogy last call, like buying a house. Like if you were to buy a house or an apartment building for an investment, and you wanted to get out of it, you would have to sell it. So the same thing holds true here. You could sell your shares, sell your stake in this investment, or you can hold on to it. That's kind of how you could get out.
Right.
Hopefully that answers.
For the rest of 2021, how many more?
So I guess I do have a question. I didn't actually have this in the chat. So you have the lease. The lease is bought. We buy shares of that lease. We get monthly derived income from the production of the oil that's being sold.
Correct.
How long does this last, or does this last into perpetuity?
Great question.
Well, pretty much in perpetuity, because the great thing about this lease, Collins, it has not ever, I'm sorry, Mark. This lease has never been water flooded. And on the Comanche Shores lease that Andy and I are involved with, that's been being water flooded for 8+ years or more. And there's water floods go anywhere from 20 to 50 years. But I look at this, I'm 52. These investments are definitely going to be passed down to my kids. I got 5 boys. These investments are what we call generational income. So that's the way I look at it. And, you know, we get revenue as long as we're producing oil or natural gas out of the ground. It's real simple.
Absolutely. So just a question people might be thinking of. I mean, you talked about when prices of oil go up, but what happens when prices of oil go down? I mean, that means we receive less revenue for our production, but how far can they go down before we break even on the well? What's kind of like the breaking point where we would like get destroyed?
We could make money, not that we would like to. We could make money to cover all expenses on a lease and put a few dollars in our pocket at $10 to $15 oil. What the market's given us. Gotcha. Because on a lot of these leases, our monthly operating expenses are under $5,000.
Right.
And I'm just basing it on 15 barrels a day at $10. That's about $4,500 a month. So I would say after expense, you're probably looking closer to $15 a barrel would be our break even. But then again, you guys have been out on the leases. You see the holding tanks we have.
Oh yeah.
If oil takes a dip 1 month, we don't sell that, that oil. We hold it in our tank batteries and we wait to the next month till the prices go back up. It's real simple.
Gotcha. Can you break down how the monthly returns work with real numbers like sales X, expenses Y, so return is Z? The break position and buy another.
That's Carolyn. Is that?
Yep,
Is that
Carolyn. Yep.
Okay, can you break down how the monthly returns work with real numbers like sales is X? Okay, yeah, so basically, just for good numbers, Carolyn, let's just say we sell 500 barrels of oil in 1 month and we get paid $60 a barrel. We've created $30,000 worth of revenue. Then the landowner takes their normal percentage of the royalty, which is normally 25%. So that gives us a figure of $22,500 to work off of. Then out of that $22,500, we would pay all expenses. And let's just, once again, I'm giving you real numbers, but I'm not giving you accurate numbers on a per lease basis, okay? Understand that. So we have $22,500 to pay bills out of. Let's just say our bills for that month was $4,500. That would mean the $4,500 would come off that $22,500, which would give us a net effect of $18,000. Then what we do is we take that $18,000, divide it by 100%, because that's the ownership, 100% ownership. That would give us $180 per 1%, just giving you for instance. Let's say you own 2%, you would receive a check for $360 or thereabouts, okay? So that's really how that would all work out as far as numbers. Hope that answers everything. Mark says to liquidate our position and perhaps buy other more profitable leases. The way I look at that, Mark, you're entitled to do whatever you'd like to do. But if I've got an asset that's producing me, a minimum of 10% a year, I'm finding other investments within my portfolio, not necessarily in the oil and gas sector, but I'm looking at my stock portfolio and saying, okay, this stock is a dud. It's not returning me anything. I'm going to cash out on it while I can, or, something to that nature when another, lease would come available. And I think someone asked earlier, I think it was El Jefe, we intend on doing a minimum 2 more leases this year, minimum. That's not saying we'll stop at 2. Because you got to strike while the iron's hot. And then our projection for 22 is going to be 10 to 12. That's what me and my wife have allocated right now.
All right. Okay, I think that answered all our questions. If anyone else has any other questions, I think Zoom might kick us off here soon. So if the call ends, don't be alarmed here. But if anyone has any more questions, just unmute yourself and go ahead and ask, or you can post them in the chat. Either way. If not, the next steps are going to be just contacting Greg or myself. My email is andrew@jgatlantic.com. That's andrew@jgatlantic.com. I'll put it in the chat so everyone has it.
So,
last but not least, guys, I'd like to introduce my better half. This is my wife, Victory.
Hey, Victory.
She's the brains behind everything. Yeah, sure.
They're on vacation. What part of Florida did you go to?
Now you can see her beauty.
Hi, everyone.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey.
That's Andrew there. There's Andy, our buddy.
Hey, Andy. There you are.
Hey.
There's
What's up?
Greg.
I know, right?
Come back to Dallas.
Yeah.
I will.
But,
I'll be there soon.
There's me.
And
Thank
this
you.
is our 12-year-old. This is Justin.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for loaning Tim to us on your vacation.
I'm Jet. I'm not Justice.
Or Jed, I'm sorry. I got 5 boys, guys.
It's hard to remember everyone's name. How do you forget your own son's
I'm
name?
sorry. Oh, here, this is not planned. My brother-in-law, okay, he's graced us with his house that we're staying at, Kingsley, and that's our 16-year-old Matthew.
Hey,
Kingsley got involved on the Comanche Shores, and he just got his first revenue check here just a week or so ago.
Nice.
Yeah, and if you're ever in the Jacksonville area and you need a good neurosurgeon, he's the guy.
That's a good plug. Hopefully I don't need that, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I wanted to do that just because I wanted to show you guys that this is an investment opportunity that we ourselves have friends and family involved with.
Right.
Kingsley, he's my wife's brother. Wants some passive income for, well after his retirement days. And, Andy, he's a dear friend of ours. And, it's just not connections that we meet that we bring in and get involved. We actually feel confident enough about what we're doing that we bring in family into investments like this. So I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate you taking your time on vacation, Tim. I hope you enjoy the rest of it. How long are you down in Florida?
We got here, I believe, Tuesday, and we'll probably stay till Monday. I've got, realistically with everything going on, I've got to get back to Dallas because with this new information we just got on the Cartwright, I'm stoked about it. I got to get it. I've got to get this out to all the Comanche Shore partners that reinvested into the Cartwright. Sure. And then I got to get this, of course, to you, Drew. It's fantastic information. It's to me, it's just going to take what our expectations are and kind of, blow the roof off the place.
Gotcha. No,
I'll get that to you. I'll definitely get that to you.
Yeah, I'll pass that along to everyone who's interested in moving forward. So just everyone, go ahead and email me what your interest level is, how much you're thinking about investing, and that way we can get some paperwork over to you from our attorney, and I'll have individual conversations with everyone who's actually interested, and we can go from there. JG Atlantic Capital is going to be making our share purchase in the next week and a half, and then we can start drawing up paperwork and doing things with you guys. Awesome. If there's any other questions, you feel free. You can always give me a call. My number and stuff is in the email from the calendar invite that I send everyone, and we will go from there.
So Andrew,
happy weekend.
If I could say just one thing too, the folks on the call from Onyx Equities Group,
sure.
I'll be sending out a invite for a call because typically we do, the actual type of group economics as well within
sure.
Onyx Equities Group, and we pool resources. So once I have that call, then I can kind of get a figure floated over to you, Drew. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
That works for me.
Hey, this is Collins. Tim, I just moved to Dallas, Texas about 2 months ago from Maryland. I love it. I'm actually building a house in Mansfield. So I'm here as we move forward. And I'm one of the people that will be investing through Onyx. So does that mean that if JG sells their shares, my shares are sold as well? Or
We will never be selling ours, FYI.
Well, Collins, hey, Collins, I got good news for you. You are moving to Mansfield. You're the next city over. I'm in Midlothian.
got it. Yeah, I moved from Maryland. They kept telling me about Mansfield schools. And I
Yeah,
don't have any children, but I figured it's a great investment to build a house in a place where everyone raves about the schools.
absolutely. And I'll tell you another thing. I'm originally from the Maryland, Pennsylvania area. Matter of fact, Drew knew the hometown that I grew up in Red Lion, Pennsylvania. So I would love to meet you, Collins. And when you do get to Mansfield, look me up, and or I'll share. I'll get Drew.
Yeah, we can pass along the contact info. Sure.
And we'd love to go out to dinner. There's a lot of nice restaurants. So do you know where you're going to be in Mansfield exactly?
It's a neighborhood called Oaks Preserve. It's off of East Broad Street.
Oh, beautiful area. Matter of fact, my 2-year-old goes to a Montessori school over in Mansfield. We drive from Midlothian to Mansfield because of the Montessori. And he's 2. He knows his ABCs. He can count. It's just a great school. But Broad, that's a great area over in there. So
we're currently staying at Highland Park right now.
Oh, gotcha.
We wanted to experience Dallas, so we're right in the downtown area. But we'll talk. I don't want to hold anyone else up on this call, but I figured I'm in Dallas as well.
Awesome. That's good to know. That's really good to know. So, great. Drew, do you need anything else from me, my friend?
No, that's about it.
All right. Hey, good talking to everybody, and looking forward to partnering up with all you guys. And last but not least, let's go make money together.
Let's do it.
Good.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
All right. Have a good evening. Enjoy your weekend. I'll look out for your emails. Thanks, Andy.
Perfect. Mm-hmm.